Are you there, Kenny?
Saying, I wish I had someone to talk to about tough stuff, you know? Like, I've heard drinking is bad, but I don't really know why. Not a lot of my friends do it, but the media makes it seem like all teenagers drink and do drugs. Talk to me, Dad. I can handle it. I'm in it to win it.
You can hear me talking now?
The behavioral health.
I hear you now. Can you hear me?
Hello? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're good now. That was that
All right,
muted
buddy.
thing.
Okay. I'm going to mute myself now.
Well, be careful.
They're protected. We want to make sure that nobody's running into, sharks when they're fishing.
That
kind
is
of-
very important. And also, we want to be sure that they're not running into sharks with their money.
Good segue there, Patty.
Well, thank you. I'll try to bring it back every now and then, people. So
good.
we do that with safe money tactics. And by
Yes.
using safe money tactics, you actually have something to put in those trusts we want to help you with.
Yeah, no, that's so true.
And we have some good ones right now that are still available.
Yeah, and that's the thing right now. People need to take advantage of these strategies, because if they don't, and this market does go into a recession, which I think it will, then it could be a big problem for folks.
Well, it's just that they will have missed an opportunity to get it at a higher indexing and higher rates, et cetera, than what would be available later.
Yeah, no.
It will still be better than what is out there, but it will not be as good as it could if they do it sooner than later.
Right. No, that's so true. And-
So, we would love to talk to you about it, because what did you say how much we can put in the accounts?
Patty, right now we have accounts that can put in 25 to 45% into the accounts, and in other accounts. So this is important, folks. If you have an annuity that's older than 2019, not only can we put you into a higher rate tier, meaning that you're going to make a better return going forward, we can probably make up the penalty, and we can actually review to make sure that your account is there. I met with a client, and he specifically came for a certain amount of money for us to help him with. But then in doing the review and looking at his assets, I said, what about this? And he says, oh, I'm getting money from this account and everything. I'm going to be able to add $60,000 to his account. And we're going to eliminate the risk, because he's coming out of a variable annuity and he didn't want the risk. He didn't realize he had the risk. He thought, well, I'm getting 7%. That's the roll up. And he's not even getting the 7% anymore. I mean, fortunately, he caught it through the upswing. So he's in good shape with it, but we're going to be able to improve his position. So it's huge, I think. It's a way we can help people tremendously.
It is a way that we can help clients. But there are some accounts out there that have like you talk about the pension like income where it's increasing income in your retirement,
Right.
which is so important with the cost of living going up. We are also able that some clients actually qualify, not everyone does, but for the tax-free income.
Yeah. Well, listen, Patty, we've helped so many people like this create a tax-free income. You can go to my YouTube and we talk about it. Call it the P-slip, properly structured life insurance plan. Folks, each one of you should own a P-slip. You get living benefits. I lost my wife 7 years ago to cancer. Fortunately, she had one of these plans. I was able to get a 6-figure check that we used towards her treatment.
Mhm.
And Patty, I went through the majority of my retirement in 2011, 2012. I missed a bunch of time at work because I was taking care of my wife. We were going to Wilkesboro, North Carolina, literally 4 times a week.
Right.
That's 8 hours of driving a day. So I was working when I came back, or if at all, or doing a lot of phone calls.
I think that when you talk about the living benefits, it also enables you to take care of yourself. People will talk about wanting a long-term care plan and they don't think about either they don't think about it till it's too late, or now they have gotten so expensive and they are so restrictive.
They are restrictive. And here's what's nice about the P-slips protection is that you can use the money for whatever you want.
Exactly.
You need a medical trigger, but what about the client that didn't realize that she had a hip issue? She got a 6-figure check for her retirement.
She sure did.
And so that's big.
Right.
That is really big.
So unlike this person right here talking to me, Patty, when I first started working with Greg, it's like, come on, see what we do and see if you like it. And I was like, okay, whatever. I always thought that life insurance was for the dead. And I learned through Greg that life insurance is actually for the living as well. And I did not know that.
Yeah.
I really did not, because like he says, my background is the wordy dirt, the stock market.
Right.
And that's just what I knew. And then the light bulb came on. I saw the light, and I'll never forget. I was in your office. I was like, and there's this one thing that we do that I just absolutely love, and it is a tax-free investing strategy. And I was like, this I love.
Yeah. I mean, listen, tax-free is hard to beat, folks.
And it's going to get even harder to beat.
Yeah, because look, taxes are going up. So it's important that people realize, what they can do. I mean, tax-free is huge. Folks, anytime you come to see us with an IRA, if we can help you develop a additional bucket of money to create tax-free income, we do. Because it's in your best interest. And as Patty stated, cost of long-term care is getting so prohibitive. It is getting so prohibitive.
And healthcare is insane now.
Oh yeah. No, that's so true. And it really is. I mean, Patty, I'm paying almost $1,000 a month with folks. We got interrupted by my son's little dog Macy right there. And for those of you on Facebook, I posted the uninvited guest in the water there, and I thought it was a shark. It's an alligator. And so I was wrong. It looked like a shark from a distance. Now that I can see clearly, it's an alligator that was hanging out right there on the side. He's about 12 foot long, folks. Many of you realize that I posted a picture of our alligator hunter when we lived in Palmer Ranch in Sarasota, and he took a selfie with the alligator. Okay. There's just something wrong with that. Can you imagine taking a selfie with an alligator? I mean, I don't even want to be alone with the alligator. And he's got the mouth open, holding the nose up, and the camera.
No, thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I put pictures of him all the time on Facebook. So folks, listen. Right now, we're going to wind this thing down. We've talked about trust or wills, what you can do, and it's important that you figure out, what to do. Do I get a trust? Do I get a will? If you need help in that, give us a call at 1-800-440-0434. We will hook you up with a software that you'll work with a team of attorneys nationally. It'll save you a tremendous amount of money. Okay. And Kathy, on Facebook, you asked me, is there another good one? Listen, give us a call. We'll hook you up with this group and this software. We'll facilitate that for you. Okay. And it'll give you an attorney you can speak with on this. I really think it's a good idea to consider this. Like I said, I've done it for my family, and my kids are pretty close, but you just never know. What happens if what happens if your kids go through a divorce? Okay, that's another factor we don't talk about. So let's say your kids are great, there's no problem, but this never happens to people. But let's say the child marries a greedy girl, or the girl marries a greedy guy that's trying to take over the assets. Having a trust can be very protective of that. Had a client, and well, the folks that live out towards Anderson, and he's got a trust to make sure that the husband doesn't get anything, because he's not that fond of the husband. So it happens.
Yes, it does.
So folks, you can reach us at 1-800-440-0434. You can go to 1-800-440-0434, or go to mymoneyissafe.com. Go to mymoneyissafe.com. This, okay? And these trust, I don't want to put a price on the way they're facilitated. This software is less than
Did you say
$2,000,
something?
I believe. So
I did not. Did you say something to me?
That's a
No, I
lot less
must
than
have
what
been something in their broadcast that bleeped out.
No, it's just me sitting here listening to whatever show that is, the Prosperity Hour.
Oh God.
No, you never know.
I
Get
guess some
rich.
people like it.
What's that?
I guess some people appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, if it helps them,
Helps
who are
them
we to
save
mock them?
money. Yeah, annuities are safe and they're steady. I mean, you don't have much choice, really.
No, and the payout is late in your life. You really got to look at that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably not the best way to go, but if you don't want to mess with your money, that's the way to do it.
Yeah, and a lot of people want to dabble in stocks when they should really just buy some spider funds. I've looked at this over and over and over again, and nothing. I mean, even Warren Buffett, he just matches the market over a 30-year period. So,
Okay, I didn't know that.
yeah, if you go and look at the graphs of the S&P 500 and the major markets, they all go up, and they all go up. Some will grow up a little bit more than others, but and then you look at what Warren Buffett's done, and big funds like that, they can't beat it. I mean, it's just not possible. I mean, you can do some short term. You might hit something and get lucky. I bought into Pod stock early on when it was a private venture, and I made a lot of money on it. But that's a rarity, that you hit something like that.
Yeah, my brother, he's a investor from way back. He used to invest in penny stocks, and he actually hit one and made a ton of money. But it's rare, very rare.
Yeah, it's rare.
I don't see you, Doc. Do you have your camera on?
Hang on.
Oh, there you go.
There I am.
What's the background?
The background is what was it you wanted me to look up? TLPO. So I was going to explain how it works.
Oh, is that the vaccine they're working on?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, that sounded like it would be an interesting subject today.
Yeah. You want me to talk about that first, since I got that nice picture up there?
Might as well. Yeah.
All right. I'll bring that up first. I was going to talk real quickly about the government's going to force the health insurers to shorten the time it takes to get pre-authorization.
Well, they're not going to like that.
Well, the health insurance companies, what is it, United and Aetna, they're already planning to de-escalate their pre-authorization procedure because there's so much complaints from doctors and patients. So the government's going to force a 72-hour time frame, and then if there's an appeal, 7 days at the most. So
What
yeah,
is it now? Is there any guidance on that now at all?
I don't think so. I mean, we don't really have, once in a blue moon, I'll get turned down, and I don't even argue with them. I just say to hell with it. Patients want cheap insurance. That's their decision. And
Exactly. That's right. That's why I went with a G plan. I'm just going to give you my card and you get the bill.
there you go. And
All right, Doc, we're about a couple minutes here from the news, and then I'll catch you after the weather.
all right, I'm going to mute myself so I don't cough while the news is on.
Roger, Dodger.
Listen again next time for the Cal Thomas commentary.
You know, it's true. Difficult times have a way of focusing us. We have to think about what matters most when it comes to our spending, our healthcare. This is why so many people are joining MediShare right now. MediShare is a trusted way to save up to 50% on your monthly healthcare costs. More than 400,000 people have already made the switch. It's pretty obvious why, too, especially now during this challenging season with healthcare costs and out-of-pocket expenses going up. MediShare can save you a lot of money. The typical family saves $500 a month. MediShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years. Members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. There are different options to choose from to fit your budget. I'll give you the number here in a second, and if you call, you can get a price within 2 minutes. Maybe now is the perfect time to make the switch and start saving. Here you go. Call 855-90-BIBLE. That's 855-90-BIBLE. 855-90-BIBLE.
Tampa Bay's only conservative station. 860 The Answer, WGUL. You need to download the Answer Tampa app or listen online at theanswertampa.com. Tune in at Odyssey.
With SRN News, I'm Michael Harrington in Washington. The U.S. military has carried out strikes against Iranian-backed Houthi rebels for more than a week now, and the action will continue.
President Biden acknowledged last week that the bombardment of Houthi military sites had yet to stop the militant attacks on vessels in the Red Sea, but he said the U.S.-led strikes would continue. John Kirby is at the White House National Security Council.
We are taking away capability from the Houthis. With each and every one of these strikes, we are making it harder for them to continue to propagate these attacks.
Meanwhile, the U.S. has strongly warned Iran to cease providing weapons to the Houthis. Greg Clugston reporting.
Sales of previously occupied U.S. homes sank in 2023 to a nearly 30-year low as mortgage rates went up and up, pushing homeownership out of reach for many Americans. This is SRN News.
Find us online at theanswertampa.com. Dr. Sebastian Gorka says it's up to us.
Americans' love of family, love of truth. That is why we will. Well, that's why we've already won in the big scheme of things, and that's why we will always win. Why? Because that is our fuel. And the other side's fuel is what? Hatred. It's up to us to save this nation.
America First with Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Weeknights at 9, right before Kevin Jackson at midnight on AM 860, The Answer and theanswertampa.com.
Make getting out of debt your New Year's resolution. If you owe $10,000 or more in debt, before you make another minimum payment, you need to know there are special programs that can completely free you of your debt. Total Financial Freedom can help you become debt-free in months instead of years. Resolve your credit card debt, signature loans, department store cards, internet loans, and timeshares. Call now at 800-533-6605 for a free consultation. For 17 years, Total Financial Freedom has helped thousands get out of debt. You can feel confident when calling because Total Financial Freedom is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and a Christian-owned company. Don't get stuck in the endless cycle of payments. You have the right to get your debt resolved and substantially reduce your monthly payments. Call Christian-owned Total Financial Freedom now at 800-533-6605. That's 800-533-6605. 800-533-6605.
The following program is sponsored by Bay Area Medical Can Care Clinic.
The latest from AccuWeather at the top and bottom of the hour. Only on AM 860, The Answer.
Partly sunny today and cool. Much warmer weather expected this week, high 60. Mostly clear skies for tonight, low 48. Mostly cloudy tomorrow, high 70. Cloudy skies tomorrow night, low 60. For Tuesday, mostly cloudy skies, high 73. Tuesday night, it'll be mild with a moonlit sky, low 65. That's your AccuWeather forecast. I'm Cheryl Golden for AM 860, The Answer.
Go, Doc.
Good morning, everybody. This is Dr. Bill. Welcome to the show. I got Ken by my side. We're on radio. We're on Facebook and YouTube. Facebook, there's two sites. Go to the Dr. Bill Radio MD on WGUL 860.com. That's the one that is showing me. The other one is showing Ken's logo. So we can't figure out how
I hijacked that one.
that's if you just want to see Ken Zaire in black and white, there you go. But we're also on Facebook and some other platforms, Twitch, and so we're doing a show, and I think we're doing it well. At least that's what everybody tells me. Now, people may lie to me, Ken.
I enjoy it.
You do? Okay, well, if you enjoy it and I enjoy it, that's the most important thing.
A wise old disc jockey once told me that a radio guy always gets bored 30 seconds before his audience.
That's why you always end the show 30 seconds early.
That's right. What are we talking about today, Doc? What's on the agenda?
Well, you, sir, wanted to know about this tumor lysate particle only vaccine that's being developed. Now, we have been using the tumor lysate particle, but what we have been doing with it, by the way, this is a particle off of a cell that is a cancer cell. It's a protein that the cancer cell makes, which protects it from our killer T lymphocytes and antibodies that we produce. Now, as you guys all remember, because we've gone over this so many times, I'm getting sick of it.
It was a COVID standard, yeah.
It was a COVID. You remember we had the lymphocytes and the granulocytes, and the lymphocytes are the antibody producing cells, and they also have the killer T cells, which go out and attack things. And
I like them I like those T cells.
We like those T cells. So what they had done in the past, and they're still doing, is they would take this particle, refine it from the tumor cells after you take a biopsy of it, and then they'd draw some blood out of you, get the dendritic cells, which are the white blood cells that have to do with the presentation of antibodies and particles to the T and the B cells. I know this is a little complicated, but basically the dendritic cells are the ones that actually do the initial processing of the harmful antigens and bacteria and viruses. And that's how they did the RNA virus vaccines for COVID, is they got it to go into the dendritic cells, and the dendritic cells would then process it and pass it on to the T and B cells. So at any rate, they have been doing this by taking the dendritic cells out of your body, multiplying them, introducing this tumor lysate particle, and then injecting it back into your body. And they've used it primarily for malignant melanomas, which I have or had. I guess once you have it, you always have it. But I think I got another little spot on my left hand that we're going to have to take off. Looks like it is not a foreign body, and it is not, I don't know if you can see that little spot there, Ken.
Yeah, I can, as a matter of fact, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to have the wife snip that off, and we'll send that in for analysis. But they have been using it for that. Now, this tumor lysate particle only is, it eliminates the middleman. It eliminates the dendritic cell being pulled out of your body and multiplied, and then having the particle introduced to it outside of the body, and then injecting it back into you. It's your blood, it's your system, it's your cells, but you have to manipulate them with the outside the body. We call it ex vivo. Ex vivo means life. And so we have two Greek Latin words, vivo and vitro. Vitro, vitreous, glass. You remember that?
Sure.
Okay, so vitro is in the lab, because when they started doing these things, they were doing them in glass plates and glass containers. So
that's where we get vitro fertilization and all that.
Yeah. And then in vivo means inside your body, and ex vivo means outside the body, but it's still part of your body, and you're going to get it back unless you die before we can give it to you. So at any rate, so they've eliminated, or at least this one company has, they believe, eliminated the middleman, the withdrawal of the dendritic cells, and they can inject this now directly into the body, and that will be taken up by the dendritic cells. They've got it in a form that's recognizable, and they're in phase 2, going to phase 3 trials. Now, phase 1 trial is where you check the safety and the dosage and all that, and you get 10 or 20 people, and you give them the medication, see if it works, and then you give them a lot of the medication and see how much it takes to kill them or get them sick. Then you dose it back. Then phase 2 is when you get 100 or 200 people, and you have the dosage down, and you know what the side effects are, and you know how it's going to act and interact with the body, and you want to see how it does with the actual disease. And then a phase 3 trial is when you go to thousands of people, and a phase 4 trial is the aftermarket information that is gathered by doctors and sent back to the researchers and the drug companies to let them know how it's doing now that it's already on the market, and what kind of responses you're getting and what kind of side effects you're having, because a lot of times in a smaller group, you won't see some of the side effects. So a lot of these side effects, they're so rare, less than 1%, that unless you have a big cohort of patients, you're not going to see that. At any rate, so they're using this TLPO. The TLP is not new, but the TLPO is, and they're getting a really good response with malignant melanoma and keeping people alive with solid tumors, but they're fairly advanced stage tumors though. So they're stage 2 and 3. This on my hand is not even, it's a stage 1. It's just a nit's and just a nit. It's really not much of anything, but so they're using these things in people with fairly advanced disease, and I guess if it works, they'll eventually, like a lot of vaccines and medications, they'll scale it up so that you can use it early disease. But when the penicillin first came out, it was so hard to get and so rare. And I told you my mother was probably the first doctor in Kentucky outside of the military to give a penicillin shot, and she had to apply to the FDA to get permission, in the state health department gave it to a kid with pneumonia. Poor kid still died, but they were using it only as a last resort. So you had to be really sick before you got the penicillin, and by that time it was probably too late for a lot of people. So that's the way these research projects and
a lot of them fall apart in stage 3.
Yeah. Yep.
They don't get past that.
Yeah, they don't get past the phase 3, and we'll see how this does. I mean, it looks promising, but I think that there's a lot more work to do. And like a lot of things that come out in phase 1 and 2 and look really, really good, you go to a bigger cohort, a bigger group of people, phase 3, and it just doesn't pan out. Oh, well, what are you going to do?
And it's not a cure for cancer. It would hold it in check at best, do you think?
Well, they have a group that are 3 years out and they're tumor free. So,
okay. Well, yeah.
So I'm guessing that it does do something.
If it's shrinking in tumors, that's always good.
Yeah, and I think that we're getting closer to some real cures for more and more cancers. I mean, when I was a kid, maybe 20% of people survived a cancer. Now we're 60, 70% and keeping them alive a long time. And even really, really aggressive tumors like lung cancers now, the small cell that we see just rip through people so fast. There's treatment for that now, and we are keeping some people alive. So it's a good time in history. And of course, the leukemias, we've done really well with the leukemias and the lymphomas. Those are the white blood cell cancers, the granulocytic and lymphocytic cancers of the blood system.
So early detection is still the key to cancer, isn't it?
Well, certainly for the solid tumors like breast cancer and prostate cancer, of course. Leukemias and lymphomas, it's kind of hard to make an early diagnosis because you don't see the disease until the disease shows up in the bloodstream because it's a blood product.
Right.
So, but the solid tumors, yeah, we can do a lot there. Get your colonoscopy, get your PSA, get your mammogram. If you were a smoker, get a CAT scan of your lungs, and we can see the solid tumors. They pop up, and we can treat them.
So get to the doc. What's the number, doc, if they want to call you?
727-384-6411, 727-384-6411. And unlike the show right before me, I'm not going to make you any money. You're going to make me money. And I'm going to keep your ass alive.
Well, it's a good exchange. I'll pay for that.
Sounds fair to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm down. I'm down, baby. All right. So,
well, I'm glad to hear that promising anyway. So
yeah. And you never know where these things are going to lead. I mean, they thought this dendritic cell, introducing the RNA and the DNA into the dendritic cell, was going to cure all cancers. Guess what? It's done its most benefit with the virus, the COVID virus. And it's really been a miraculous discovery, and it should be more widely available for other viruses as they pop up. So for all of the bad things that happen from COVID, there's always good science that comes out of these things.
And they can do it quickly now, which is
a
big part of it.
Yep. That's a big part of it. And it's like, DNA fingerprinting. It used to be that it took weeks and weeks when they first came out with it in the late 80s, early 90s to get enough DNA and enough information and fingerprint it and get it back to the police. And now, they can do it overnight. Ken.
That's spectacular. I was reading an article this week that the Chinese may have kept that DNA sequence or whatever they needed for it, like 2 or 3 weeks, maybe a month before. They didn't announce it. They didn't release it. And they are saying it could have killed a lot of people because they delayed.
Well, I'm not sure that it made that much difference because there was no vaccine at that point, and you delayed the ramp up for the vaccine by a couple of weeks. I mean, how much? This is sensationalism. This is the press carrying on, and of course the politicians want to make a big deal out of it because they want to whack the Chinese. And I don't have a problem with that, but let's whack them for something that they're really being egregious about. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. If you want to whack them for that, you go ahead. Kid.
Well, I thought it was kind of nasty that they would hold that back.
Well, you got to remember now, this is a bureaucracy that is very controlling, and we hold things back, but we have much more oversight between the three branches of government, so we can kind of force things a little faster. But there are no three branches. There's one branch of government.
There's Chi, and that's it. Right, exactly.
There's Chi, and there's the legislature, and that's it. So, and he
owns them. Let's face it.
Yeah. I mean, if they get out of line, he'll whack them.
That's right.
And so, I don't think it made a whole lot of difference. And I remember Denise Balcazar and I were talking when this first started. Back in 2000, late 2019, early 2000, and we looked at each other and said, it doesn't matter what you do. This is going to spread all over the world and quickly because you can't stop people from coughing and sneezing, and you can't stop them from traveling.
That's right. You put them on a plane.
Yeah. And we're sneaky, I mean, I had COVID on the cruise and I didn't tell anybody. I didn't wear a mask. I just took my medicine and went about my business. And I'm sure a few other people got it, but too bad.
No, once it's out there, you can't stop it once it gets out there like that.
Yeah, once it's out of the barn, it's just there's not a whole lot you can do, and it's not that medical science isn't trying, and you got to hand it to the Chinese for a lot of the hard work that they have done. And there's been some excellent research that, as you know, I cited over the 2 or 3 years that the pandemic was on. The Chinese did good research, the Japanese, the Vietnamese. We looked back at the SARS virus and other viruses, and the Australians did some good research. So everybody was working hard. And when you have a government-owned, government-run laboratory, even our own CDC, I mean, you don't know what's going on there. You do not know. You know what they let you know. But we do,
which is true of every government, I think. Right.
Well, we do have congressional oversight, and if it looks like it's really egregious and really out of hand, then the Congress will step in, House or Senate committee, or somebody will go in there and say, "Hey, what's going on here?" But you can't do that in China.
Yeah, that's true.
No,
yeah.
no, they won't let you do that. Well, at any rate, United Healthcare and Cigna are rolling back their pre-authorization process, and the federal government has stepped in, Ken, and they're
What are they doing?
Well, they're implementing new rules that say that you have to take up the pre-authorization within 72 hours of its presentation by the doctors or the hospitals to the insurance companies. You know, they have these doctors and nurses that look at all this and decide whether or not your MRI or your CT scan is necessary. And
so they decide whether you're worthy or not, huh? Okay.
Well, they're trying to protect the pool of money and people's money, and of course they're trying to help the stockholders and the muckety mucks to make sure that they're adequately compensated. That's part of the free enterprise system that we live under. But now the government stepped in and said, well, you got to speed up the process because we're getting too many complaints from doctors and patients that it's taking too long to get that CAT scan or their MRI or whatever. By the way, you know, they're so cheap now. I mean, you can get an MRI for $300 or less. And we're sending Canadians left and right. They want to pay out of pocket because they'll wait a year or two to get one in Canada. And
are you kidding? It's not. You're exaggerating a little. A year or two?
Yep.
Really?
You can wait a year. Yes,
yeah,
sir.
A lot of sickness can go on in a year and a half. You know.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, I've had Canadians crying in my arms, begging me not to send them back because they say if I go home, I'll die. I won't get any treatment. And I tell them, I say, look, I'll take care of you, but you're going to have to pay the hospital, and if you have cancer treatment and all that, I mean, you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you don't have that kind of money. I mean, a few of my Canadian patients do, but most of them don't. And it's hard, but I mean, I say, look, it's not me that's sending you back. It's your insurance carrier and your finances. It's because they get these travel plans, and the travel plans are just for acute, non-pre-existing problems. So if you have a heart attack down here and you haven't had a heart attack in the past year or two, it's covered. But if you had a heart attack 3 months ago and you come down here and you have another one, they won't cover you.
Really? Oh, wow.
It's not in the plan.
Okay.
So
sayonara to you then.
And I had one old couple come down, and they're both demented as hell, and they're both sick as hell. Like, who let you out of the country? Where's your family? And I called the daughter, and she's all, well, they seemed okay to us. I'm like, holy crap, Canada's really sinking. I mean, I know we have a demented president, but I guess I shouldn't talk bad about Canada. They're nice people, Ken.
They are glorious people. I do enjoy my experiences with Canadians have all been wonderful.
Oh yeah, they're very nice people. And by the way, this new initiative by the government is going to insist that if you appeal a denial, a doctor or a hospital or a patient, then they have 7 days to respond. And I haven't had any problems getting in touch with these these health insurance companies here in the States, or even in the travel insurance company. You know, we have to get pre-authorization for a lot of things that are done, even if it's for an acute problem. So we can do x-rays and lab work in the office and that sort of thing. But if we want to send them out for CT of the chest, CAT scan of the chest, or an MRI of their back, we have to get prior approval. And that's even with the travel insurance companies. So this is just part of the landscape now, and my girls are pretty good about hounding these insurance companies and getting the reviewers on the phone so I can talk to them. And I just did one Friday or Thursday, and the problem was not that they wanted to deny it; they just didn't have enough information from my notes and from the office. Of course, you really don't know what the whole story is because it's like any bureaucracy. Somebody puts a piece of paper on your desk, you shuffle it under something else that seems more important, and it's gone for several days. And you might come across it later on, but in the meantime, the offices are calling and saying, "Hey, what about this approval?" And so then you get on the phone with them and you explain to the nurse or the doctor, and they're, oh, yeah, sure, of course, that's a valid request. That's the way it works, Ken. That's
Okay. Well, that sounds like a lot of wasted time on a lot of people's part.
Well, I think that there have been some good things that have come out of the HMOs and the reviewers and all that, that the medical profession has slowed down some of the unnecessary stuff we used to do, like keeping people in the hospital too long. And that's a good thing because it's saving money, saving your money and my money. It doesn't seem like it because, I mean, health insurance is just ridiculous. I mean, $1,000 a month.
I know.
That's a lot of money to pay for health. I don't see how people do it.
I don't see how people with families, big families, I don't know how they do it.
I don't know how they do it. I just do not. Fortunately, I'm in a profession where I can get a lot of things free. I can get deductibles forgiven. We have wholesale medications that we buy for our little in-house pharmacy, so we get a lot of things. So like if I need most of these things are so cheap anyway now that, still you save $10-20 here and there. Why not?
Yeah.
And guess what? We've got Viagra, generic Viagra, 100 milligrams, man. That's cheap.
Give the phone number again, Doc.
727-384-6411, 727-384-6411. And it's kind of funny to see some of these guys come in and they want Viagra, but they come in with something else, because they say, "Oh, by the way."
By the way, yeah. If you're not too busy. Yeah.
God, I'm choking myself here. But come on, this is an important part of life, and we have to respect that. And Viagra's held a lot of marriages together. I had one of my patients come in and he said, "Doc, I really need it." He said, "I've just kind of lost interest, and my wife thinks I don't love her anymore." And I said, "No, I do love you." And she said, "Well, you never have sex with me." I said, "Well, here you go, buddy boy."
Mm-hmm.
So it's
she'll be calling you in a couple of weeks. Cut him off. What?
Have you got something to slow down or counteract it?
All right.
Did I tell you how Disney World and Viagra are alike?
Disney World and Viagra?
Yeah.
No. Should I put my finger over the dump button here?
It's a 2-hour wait for a very short ride. Any rate, so Biden's kind of caving in, I guess, on the border thing because he wants cash for the Israelis and the Ukrainians, and so he's going to supposedly he's going to sign the bill that would make some concessions and would really start toughening up and making people wait at the border. And if they're really not here for asylum, send them back, I guess. I don't know what all this is going to do. You never know what's going to come out, even though they say this and that. And I don't know if Biden's even able to read this stuff and understand it. I mean, these legislative documents are just boring and repetitive and legalistic, and I don't think the guy can do it. I really don't. So he's probably just going on what his friends in the Senate are telling him to do.
Most likely, yeah.
In order to get through what he wants.
Yeah, exactly.
And 68% of the people now disapprove of his border policy. And that was one of the big things the left wanted. They wanted open borders. They want socialism, pacifism, internationalism. None of that crap works, Ken.
No, you can't just have people wandering into the country. I'm sorry.
No, and who pays for it? And I love my friends who say, "Well, I'm socially liberal but fiscally conservative." I'm like, "Well, does socially liberal mean you want an open border? And if so, who's going to pay for these people when they come in? How can you say you're fiscally conservative if you think it's okay for kids to have transgender operations? Who's going to pay for that? Who's going to pay for the health care that follows after that? You and I are, Ken."
Yeah.
And so that, it's a misnomer. You cannot say I'm socially liberal but fiscally conservative. No, you're not. You're wasting money if you're a liberal. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the bottom line.
I don't know what to do, Doc. Do you? I mean,
Yeah, I know what to do, but hell, they're not going to let me in now.
Hey, I know what to do. Have a cup of coffee.
We can have a cup of coffee, but real quickly, see that behind me? You see that spattery looking thing? That's a dendritic cell cartoon. And then the vaccine antigens are introduced to the dendritic cell, and the dendritic cell comes over
Nice
here.
little-
It makes all that antigen stuff and passes it off to the T cells and the CD8 cells, and it's pretty cool. They're pretty cool little things. All right, what do you got? Have you got a question? Do you have an answer?
Yeah, we can put a question together here. This is
All
for two Dr. Bill, your Radio MD coffee mugs. And it deals with what you were just talking about just a second ago. If you're looking at Facebook, you'll see all the diagrams and everything for this particular vaccine that we were talking about earlier this morning when the show first started. What ailment does that vaccine target? So what's it supposed to fix?
And you don't have to be specific
No.
about just a general category of
Right. Just
of
say
disease.
flu or mumps or whatever. Just
Yeah.
come up with it as, we don't need specifics or anything like that. Just
You
the
got a
general.
phone number for people?
I do. I just happen to have one here in my hand. How about that? 877-969-8600. 877-969-8600 is the number to call. First person with the correct answer will win. Ain't that right, Doc?
You got it, buddy. We'll be
All right.
right back. I'm Dr. Bill with Ken by my side.
All right. See you in a bit.
AM 860, The Answer. Listen on our website, theanswertampa.com, 93.7 FM, W229DJ Dunedin, by downloading the Answer Tampa app or on TuneIn or Odyssey.
Dr. Bill for Bay Area Medical, located at 6399 38th Avenue North in St. Pete, 727-384-6411, 727-384-6411. Full service clinic with x-ray, heart imaging, ultrasound, stress testing, and minor surgery. We provide quality health care in a warm and friendly atmosphere. We are multilingual, well-trained, and certified. Most American insurance and new patients accepted. Bay Area Medical, home of Can Care, 727-384-6411, 727-384-6411. Dr. Bill here. With social distancing and sheltering in place, telemedicine is here. Bay Area Medical Home of Can Care Clinic offers telemedicine for new and established patients. You can see me without an in-office visit. Schedule an appointment at 727-384-6411, 727-384-6411. When it's time for your appointment, type this web address into your cell phone or computer web browser, doxy.me/Bay Area Med. A cell phone works well and is all you really need. For computers, you need a web camera and speakers. We'll give you this address when you call for your appointment. We accept most insurances and travel insurances. Canadians and visitors, please call your travel insurance company for an authorization number prior to the visit. Copays and deductibles apply. Self-pay rates are available. Just ask. We accept credit cards, PayPal, and Stripe. 727-384-6411, 727-384-6411. Dr. Bill here. My friends at St. Pete MRI and Sleep Diagnostics are your best choice for state-of-the-art MRI, CT, and sleep studies. Quality unsurpassed. 25 years experience makes St. Pete MRI my go-to imaging center. Self-pay rates are competitive and out-of-pocket cost a fraction of a hospital. Conveniently accessible from both sides of the bay at 750 94th Avenue North, St. Pete, near the Gandy. 727-577-2220, 727-577-2220.
The latest from AccuWeather at the top and bottom of the hour. Only on AM 860, The Answer.
Partly sunny today and cool. Much warmer weather expected this week, high 60. Mostly clear skies for tonight, low 48. Mostly cloudy tomorrow, high 70. Cloudy skies tomorrow night, low 60. For Tuesday, mostly cloudy skies, high 73. Tuesday night, it'll be mild with a moonlit sky, low 65. That's your AccuWeather forecast. I'm Cheryl Golden for AM 860, The Answer.
Go ahead, Doctor.
And I'm back. This is Dr. Bill, and Ken's
John,
with me
Doctor.
this morning. This is Dr. Bill. I'm back. Got Ken with me. Can you hear me, Ken? Hello?
I sure can. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Okay, so that's important. And did you see where the judge threatened to throw Trump out of court because he was talking too loud? I love it. Oh, well, what do you
I
gonna
tell you, they just won't let up on him, will they?
Oh, no, they don't like him.
I get that. I get that feeling.
They do not like him.
You know who I like?
Who do you like?
I like Rob Duncan of St. Pete. Rob Duncan of St. Pete, congratulations. You have won 2 Dr. Bill, your Radio MD coffee mugs for being the first person with the correct answer. He knew that we were talking about cancer.
Thanks, Rob. Hey, didn't we have a Rob win last week?
I'm not sure. I can check. Might have
From
been.
St. Pete? Maybe Rob's a double winner.
Well, we'll find out. Maybe he's getting 4 mugs.
Yeah, we'd probably go out and sell them, make big money.
They are good. They are great mugs.
Black market Dr. Bill mugs.
So thanks to everybody who called in, tried to win, but Rob beat you all.
Thanks, Rob, and thanks everybody for being with us. We need you. We want you. We love you. Keep coming.
That's for sure.
That's for sure, buddy. So did you hear the latest? Squatters are taking over abandoned boats on the coast of Florida.
What a great idea.
I love it. You know, they're calling them pirate squatters or squatter pirates in Florida, setting up home on abandoned boats. And I guess they're causing some ruckus here and there because when they pull up the anchor and forget to drop it back down at night and the tide comes in, the boats are crashing into the the dock.
That's not good.
That's not good. You got to love this stuff. You can't make any of this up.
Boat squatters. All right.
Oh my. Oh my. And then you remember Uvalde?
Yes, absolutely. It was
The
a terrible
mass shooting
disaster.
down in Texas. Yeah,
Right.
what was it, 2 years ago, year and a half ago? And I think 22 kids and several teachers were killed. And the guy, did you know him? He wrote on the blackboard in blood, LOL, laughing out loud.
No kidding. Wow, what a sicko.
So the mayor of Uvalde, he asked the FBI to investigate and see what they did wrong. Did you know there were 400 cops there before anybody went in? There were 400 cops there.
Why did they wait so long?
Apparently, the protocol from the chief of police in Uvalde was that if it's a hostage situation, we don't go in until the hostage negotiators get there. Well, then the ATF guys, or not the ATF, the Border Patrol guys came in and they just stormed in and shot the SOB. But so this scathing report has come out from the FBI and has really criticized the chief of police and the actions taken by all of the local law enforcement there. I guess they had cops from several towns that came running over there and nobody would go in.
Very sad.
It is sad. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's your job, dude. Go in there and go in with a vest and a gun and start shooting.
Exactly.
You know, this is like what Biden's doing with the Iranians and the Houthis and everybody. I mean, what are you fiddle farting around for? Just bomb the plants that are making these weapons that are in Iran and get it over with. You don't stop a snake by cutting off the tail.
That's very true.
It will not stop it. I guarantee you.
It's still going to bite you. That's right.
It's still going to turn around and take a nip.
That's right.
And it'll grow it back too. So.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why we're so frightened to do these things.
Well, you know, they don't collateral damage and they don't want to hurt the women and children. And like I keep saying, oh, for God's sakes, where do you think these terrorists come from? They don't grow them on trees, buddy boy.
Yeah.
They grow them in women. And where do these kids learn this insanity and this hatred for non-Muslims and their hatred for Jews and their hatred for this and that? You know, they learn it from parents who teach hatred. It's just, I mean, it's just that simple. It is just so simple. And to say that there's innocent people that might get hurt, there ain't no innocent people. You know, the only innocent people are the ones who are resisting, and they're probably locked up in jail, so they're not going to get hurt anyway. So,
Well, you're right. Absolutely right. I mean,
but, you know,
you've got to be taught to hate.
yeah, you got to be taught to hate and or abused, you know, which is a form of teaching. And we know that these mass murderers and serial killers and you know, a lot of criminals, they're abused kids. That's what they are. And people say, well, you know, Jeffrey Dahmer, he wasn't abused because his father, look how good he is. He's been with him and, you know, stuck by him until he died. You know what? His mother was an alcoholic. His father was rarely home. And that's a real recipe for having a really screwed up kid, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to have a father there, and you got to have sober parents who aren't angry and mad and screaming and having mood swings and all that. I mean,
Helps to have some grandparents around as well. So
yeah, grandparents are good. Mine all died before I was born, but that's okay. I forgive them.
Sure, they didn't want to.
Well, it wasn't their fault.
No.
God said, "Come here."
I knew all my grandparents. In fact, one of my grandfathers lived with us for about 15 years.
How was that?
He was Maximilian from the old country. Immigrated here legally in 2022.
Yeah, well,
1922, rather, 1922. And worked his way up, man. Started as a bus boy and kept going. Before he was done, he was working at an electronics company.
Wow.
So,
good for him.
and he was sponsored. He couldn't come in. That's another thing about back then when the masses were coming over. You were either sponsored or you were not sponsored. If you were not sponsored, you had to go through Ellis Island.
Yep.
And all of that. If you were sponsored, and if he had a job, he had a home to live in. So he came in through another port in New York City. But that's the way it should be done.
Absolutely. And if you are here to escape persecution or whatever, that's one thing. But if you're just coming up here to make money, which is what the overwhelming majority of immigrants come here for, they want to make money.
Certainly.
And I don't have a problem with somebody wanting to make money, but you're doing it at my demise. You're hurting me. And I don't think that immigration should be something that hurts us. I think it should be something that helps us. You say, well, in 2 or 3 generations, they'll all be assimilated anyway. And that's true. But, you know, right now, while I'm here on this planet, because I'm not going to be here in 2 or 3 generations, I don't think. But right now, it's detrimental to me personally, and to you, Ken, and to everybody else who's paying taxes and rationing out the resources. I mean, it just hurts. And I saw where one hospital, I think it was in Colorado, they're going to go broke. They're asking the federal government to give them a handout, and because they're taking care of so many illegal immigrants who don't pay. And you know, the crazy Canadians that don't know anything about us, they say, "Oh, well, the healthcare system in the United States, you'll die on the street." No, you won't. Everybody goes to the ER and everybody gets taken care of, unless you're too drunk to crawl in there. And then,
but yeah, they can't refuse you if you show up at the ER with a life-threatening something. They got to take care of you.
You got to take care of you. And that's just the way it is. That's the law. It's been that way for 30, 40 years now. And the Hill-Burton Act, which came out in the late 60s, early 70s, if you're a Hill-Burton hospital at that time, you had to follow the federal guidelines. End of discussion. And now all the hospitals are getting, you know, they're all on some kind of government program, whether they're getting Medicare or Medicaid money or money from the federal government to train residents and interns, you know, and medical students. I mean, somebody pays for this, Ken.
Yeah. Oh, certainly. Yeah.
And it doesn't come from local sources. This is all federal money. The state will kick in a little bit, but
Well, as far as the border is concerned and all that, I'm glad to see the northern states are beginning to feel it because they needed to.
absolutely. You know, you can say what you want about Abbott, but I think he's a pretty smart boy.
Yeah.
I think he hit the nail right on the head.
Well, like they did in New York, they took a now it was only for one day, but they made kids leave their classrooms to put immigrants in their school so they wouldn't freeze to death, basically.
And frozen immigrants are really pretty tasty. So we could have sold some of those,
Especially in New York.
In New York, and the babies especially, they're real tasty. Oh my! So did you hear that Pakistan and Iran were trading missiles back and forth last week? Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't. Shooting each other?
Yeah, shooting across the border at each other. I guess the Iranians are upset because the northern Pakistanis, they're all Shiites, or not Shiites, Sunnis, and the Iranians are Shiites, and the Sunnis hate the Shiites, and so the Sunnis have been attacking the Shiites in Iran, and so the Iranians, they fired into I guess into the area where these fundamentalist Muslims live. So don't take it personal just because they're out to get you. I mean, they're out to get each other, And so the Pakistani said, you can't do that. And they fired back at him. They took out a little village or something. I don't know. So
Crazy.
several people were killed, and, big to do.
All over religion.
All over religion. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think Iran or Pakistan, neither one need any more territory. They got plenty of land.
Yeah. They got plenty of unoccupied land right now. Exactly. So why do it?
And
live and let live.
And Pakistan's in such a mess. I mean, they're really literally bankrupt. I told you about the guy that was interviewing people on the street in Islamabad, or one of the cities in Pakistan, and it was right after India had put their rocket on the moon. Remember that a few months back? And he said, "Well, what do you think about this?" Asking a Pakistani guy. He said, "Big deal." He said, "What do you mean big deal?" And he said, "Well, we don't have any power. We don't have lights. We don't have heat. We don't have water. We don't have any services. The roads don't work. Hell, we're on the moon." He said, "Big deal." So they went to the moon. We've been living
We're
here for
already
years.
there. That's right.
So Iran's military tested and found a limit to its ability to push its neighbors around. Because, the Pakistanis, they got nuclear weapons.
Well, how come they're not afraid to shoot back, but we can't find the courage to do anything? Because we're a superpower and we're supposed to be more responsible or more humane? I mean, what's the rationale there?
I say, grab them just like we get feral stray cats and neuter them and cut their ear, how they do with the female cats.
Yes, sure.
And release them back in. Then they can't have any more, they can't make any more terrorist babies. Is that wrong, Ken?
Yeah, it'd probably be frowned upon in some circles.
I say we nuke them with Joe.
There you go.
The other thing we could do is we could just drop Hillary into their country for a while and
just put her on a loudspeaker.
Put her on a loudspeaker, she'll drive them crazy.
That's right.
So
you don't think Joe would? I mean, I was thinking about this the other day. People talking about Joe, he should step down and all that, and they're probably right. And who would take his place? And they keep talking about Newsom. Now, I've never heard anybody say Hillary. I heard Michelle Obama and all kinds of names, but I'm worried they try to put Hillary in.
And Michelle wants to run for president. And I remember when Barack was running, and she said she was ashamed of her country until her husband got nominated and elected.
Well, you get to live in the White House. It's a whole different story. It's a different perspective there.
Well, you get spoiled too.
Yes, you do.
Carrying your luggage and
going through all stoplights all the time.
Oh, yeah. You get to run stoplights, and you don't have to drive, and you can honk the horn and all that. It's a lot of fun.
I remember a story of Eisenhower after he was out of office and after he'd been, general of the armies and all that for 20 years or whatever it is. He had to make a phone call from his house. And he picked up the phone. He heard this tone.
He never heard it.
He said he had never heard a dial tone before because he always had somebody making his calls, and all he had to do, yes, General, your congressman is on the line, or yes, Mr. President, the senator's there. And he just picked the phone up, and there was somebody there. He had no idea what to do with a dial tone.
Yeah.
That's how out of it you can be.
Well, I remember when I was a young doctor, I'm so busy with studying and residency and fellowship and everything. I didn't go to the grocery store for years. And so then my then wife and we went to the grocery store in Hilton Head to get something. And I'm like, what's that? What's that laser scanner for? And she said that's how you check out now. You scan or the clerk scans your goods from the barcode or the UPC code. I said, wow, that's pretty cool. I said, when did this start? She said, 4 or 5 years ago. What? Where have I been?
Been studying.
Been working.
So yeah, it is good. That's a job that really does put you in a rare air.
The greatest story is there was a rotary dial phone and the kid picked it up and he wanted to text his friends. That won't work, buddy boy, because that's analog and you're in a digital world now.
Yeah, the kids today will never know the pleasure of taking the zero free ride back.
Nope. And you remember cathode ray tubes, the old monitor screens, that's what our TVs were and all that back.
Exactly, yeah.
Even the kids that go to science school and become doctors, they don't know what a cathode ray tube is. They have no idea what a CRT is. And maybe I'm being a little bit too hard, but I would think that would be something that you would learn in science class, but I guess not. I guess it's not that important anymore.
I don't think they're really used anywhere anymore. I don't know. X-ray machines use anything like that anymore? Probably not.
We have tubes that shoot out X-rays, and so it's a little bit different. But we are semi-digitalized now in that the cassettes, the film is a digital, kind of like a big CD or a big thumb drive, and you shoot the X-ray and then you stick it in the machine, and it doesn't go through the machine. The machine just reads the electronic data from the cassette, and then it reproduces the picture on your computer screen.
A lot faster, I would imagine.
It's a little faster, and but you don't have to have film. You don't have to have a processor. You don't have to have all the chemicals and all that. You just have electronics, and you have 2 or 3 or 4 cassettes that you use over and over and over and over.
That's right. You guys were actually looking at real film that had to be developed. I don't realize that. Yeah.
And I think we've still got a stack of old films out in the shed out back at the office. And there used to be companies that would come around and buy them from you or take them from you, and then they'd reprocess them and get the silver out of it and sell the silver, because it was a silver emulsion on the X-ray film that was used to make the picture.
Wow.
Fascinating.
Yeah. Scrappers making money on silver from X-rays. Okay.
Yeah. And apparently the Iranians, they attacked the city, and then the city of Kerman, which is in Iran, the Pakistanis attacked it and killed a few dozen people. That'll teach them.
Yeah, the Ukrainians are hitting Russia more these days than the troops, if you know what I mean. They're hitting the small towns. They took a shot at St. Petersburg, Russia.
Oh yeah,
the other day. So
just don't hit the Hermitage. That's a neat museum.
Okay, I'll send him a note.
Yeah, send him a note. Leave the Hermitage alone.
But it's going to cause problem for Mr. Putin, I think.
Beautiful, beautiful museum. Catherine the Great, she set that up. She went around Europe buying all kinds of stuff and artwork and statues and artifacts. I mean, they have. It's like the Vatican. They have so much stuff that they don't even know what they have in the basement. They do not know what they have. It's like the Vatican. You walk down that long hallway to go to the Sistine Chapel. Have you done that?
I've done that, yes.
My God. I mean, you can't even take it in because everything there's, like an inch between.
I know.
It's just, where'd they get all this stuff?
Hey, when you're around for centuries, you can do that.
Yeah, I guess, you, especially if you're the Pope and you don't have a whole lot to do, you might as well go out and collect some art. And you can
That's-
make a few edicts and let everybody know what God's thinking, and then go and buy some more art.
Call somebody up, say, hey, I need a chapel painted. Come on over. I need a ceiling painted.
Hey, Michelangelo, are you busy this year?
Can you hear me, Michelangelo? Okay, can you? I need some painting done.
Yeah. Bring him up on the rotary dial.
Are we getting old, Doc? Are we just too old? For society, maybe we're on the way out. Maybe society is moving past us.
It might be parts of it anyway, but my patients, and they're like, do not retire. Do not retire. I'm like, well, what if I can't find my way to work?
Don't retire. We'll drive you.
Well, somebody come pick me up and take me in. And surprisingly, of course, the computers have helped me do this. I'm keeping up. I'm keeping up really well, and I'm actually staying ahead of most of my colleagues on a number of things. And I think the show helps me too, because I have to stop and study because Ken wants to know about
a vaccine.
The vaccine.
I gave him a whole 12 hours notice.
I don't know. Well, I mean, for me, that's nothing. But at any rate, but I think it's a good thing that I have something that will keep me young mentally and physically too, by forcing me to continue to study and read and learn. And I think that's important. And I think you enjoy that too, Ken. And that's why, except for your smoking, you're doing fairly well.
Well, I do enjoy working. I will never stop working until I physically can't stop, until I physically can't do it anymore. So I just love it too much. It keeps me busy. You don't want to sit down around and watch TV all day, look at the birds fly. I mean, unless you got a lot of money and want to travel all the time, and even that I think would get tiring after a while.
Yeah, and you think about it, especially radio. I mean, look at Roger.
Right. Roger's not a young man, but he's still going strong.
He shows up and sits down and he does his thing, and he even goes out and talks to people, and interesting guy. So how's the captain doing? I haven't heard from him lately.
Neither have I. So
somebody said he's not on his show anymore.
Nope, he's gone.
He's gone.
Yeah.
Hung it up, did he?
I guess so. So.
Well, I hope he's in good health.
Captain's a survivor.
Yep, he is. He is.
I don't know, but maybe it's just us, Doc. Maybe the rest of the world's sane and it's just you and me. It's crazy.
Well, I think that we're pulling the world with us, to tell you the truth. I mean, I think we're ahead on a lot of issues, on a lot of topics. I think we're leaders and we're not followers, and we're not falling behind. We're staying current. We're keeping up with the news. We're keeping up with the science, with the medicine, and with the trends in society. And I think it's a good thing. You need that to keep yourself awake and alert and active. So,
well, you were ahead of everybody with the COVID thing. I mean, you were so far ahead.
Yeah,
you were weeks and weeks ahead of many times.
Yeah, I mean, we led the country basically, and people say, well, you're not being heard outside of the Tampa Bay area. You know what? If you say something and somebody repeats that to somebody else and somebody else and somebody else, you'd get some across the country in a day or two.
Easy. Yeah. Easily.
Yeah. Easily. Do you know that when Louis XVI was beheaded, the information made it to London within an hour or two? Did you know that? They had signal towers. They would use the church steeples, and the local government or whoever would rent that, and they'd flash signals. And they had a signal corps, and they could get it all the way up to the Pas de Calais, and somebody's over there on the Dover cliffs with a scope or something, and
as long as they had line of sight, yeah, they could do it.
Line of sight, they could do it.
All right, I didn't know that. That was really fast for that time period in history.
Oh yeah, that was fast. But people are. I mean, it's like COVID. You could not have stopped the spread. You couldn't. People get around. They go, they do, they move, and they communicate.
There you go.
Yep. Looks like we're getting close to the end here, buddy.
We
boy.
have 50. Oh, you're right. You're keeping better track than me today. You're at 48 seconds, Doc. 48 seconds.
Well, you know where I am. I'm at 6399 38th Avenue North in St. Petersburg, Florida. We got telemedicine visits. If you want to see my handsome face, we can see you on Doxy Me, and you just call for an appointment, and we'll send you a link. And if you have a smartphone, you just use that, and you push the link on your text message, and I'll pop up. And if you have a computer, make sure you've got a headset or speaker and a microphone so you can talk.
And give them that phone number, Doc, on whether they can do all of that one more time. You got 10 seconds.
727-384-6411, 727-384-6411. I am your Dr. Bill, and Ken is my Ken.
Thank you for listening to Dr. Bill, your radio MD. Join Dr. Bill every Sunday morning at 9 for more insight, information, provocation, and fun. Dr. Bill Handelman practices in St. Petersburg, Florida at Bay Area Medical Can Care Clinic, 6399 38th Avenue North. For your convenience, telemedicine appointments are available. Call his office today at 727-384-6411. That's 727-384-6411. Or visit his website at cancareclinic.com.